Welcome aboard, everyone. Slide all the way in. If you do have any little ones on board, they are more than welcome to sit on the outside of the row or on the lap of an adult. Just make sure if they are on a lap that they stay fully seated on that lap and that lap only.
Wow, look at that. We get a row almost all to themselves. We want to space out on the dead middle, so on the furthest everything.
All right, my friends on the right, watch those hands, arms, feet, legs. Those doors are going to be sliding shut.
Oh, sorry, I was playing with the kid. You know how it is, the baby stares at you.
Asante San award, and if everyone's ready here in Harambe, we say Twende, and that means let's go. Jumbo friends, my name is Rachel, and I'm going to be your safari guide out on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Just a couple friendly safety reminders before we do head on out, though. Make sure we stay fully seated the entire time, as it does get pretty bumpy out there. We're also going to make sure we keep our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck and hold on to any loose items that could fall out, because unfortunately, I cannot stop to retrieve any of those items. If anything does fall out, though, please let me know. I will let the warden know. We'll see if we can get that item back to you by the end of the day. It looks like we're getting that final all clear from the warden, so we're going to head on in, starting in the Little Ituri Forest. Now, the animals here in the forest are known for their camouflage, so we might have to look a little bit harder for them. Although looking for the trees is always a great place to start with these animals. That's usually where they like to hang out. Now, over on the right side there, that brown-colored animal with those striped party pants back there, that is an okapi. Now, okapis might look like they are related to zebras with those striped legs, but they're actually one of the only living relatives of the giraffe. Now, if you do look at their head, they do kind of have the same skull structure that a giraffe has. They also have the same tongue that helps them get into that vegetation. Now, they are very shy animals, and because of that, they were not discovered until about 1901 by Western civilization. Now, while we are heading out through the reserve, if you guys do look up above your head, you'll find that animal spotting guide. Those are some of the animals we have seen throughout the reserve before. Now, due to migration patterns and sleeping patterns, we may not see every single one of them, but we do usually have some pretty good luck, so hopefully we'll see some of your favorites. Now, off in the distance there on the left, there is a black rhino.
All the way at the back.
I know it's hard to see because it is pretty far away. The black rhinos do have a more pointed prehensile upper lip that works kind of like your fingers. That is what helps us identify them as black rhinos. They're also one of the smaller rhino species, coming in at about 3,000 pounds. So pretty big, but there are definitely bigger ones out there.
That's about as much as Kai.
Alrighty, now coming up here on the right side of the truck, there's a couple different animals. Now, the light tan colored animals with no horns, those are greater kudus, and then that rust colored animal with horns, that is a bongo. Now, bongos are very shy and reclusive animals, just like that okapi we saw. That's how they get their nickname, the ghost of the forest. Now, both males and females do have horns on the back of their head. And if you notice, they are kind of angled backwards. It's to help them get through any of that thick and tangled brush here in the forest. Now, those black and white birds hanging out there on the left are saddle-billed storks. Now, they can stand at about 5 feet tall and have a wingspan all the way up to about 9 feet long.
Oh my.
Now, we cross over some water, so that means we're making our way towards the Safi River. Now, when we do get out there, you're going to want to keep your eyes near the water looking for any kind of shadowy figures. A lot of times we'll see Nile crocodile or even Nile hippos.
So is this ever...
Now, hippos will spend most of their time in the water. They can even spend about 8 minutes at a time underneath the surface. There are a couple on the right. For my friends on the left, don't worry, there's a spot on the left they like to hang out as well, usually a lot closer. So we are going to head down that way here. I know those two are always in kind of a weird spot. Now, the average male hippo does come in at about 5,500 pounds. And they do kind of float to the bottom of the water and walk along the bottom rather than swim. Although, to be fair, if I was 5,000 pounds, I'd probably do the same thing. Probably takes quite a bit of energy. Hi guys, make sure we do keep little ones all the way down on a lap or on a seat for the entire safari. Now, a group of hippos is called a bloat. And although they are herbivores, they do tend to be one of the more territorial animals here in Africa, and they can easily outrun a human on land.
Can they outrun a
So I think we might let them be. Now we are starting to make our way towards crocodile territory. So start being on the lookout for those. Down on the left on the shore, there's quite a few.
Oh my goodness.
The average Nile crocodile does come in at about 16 feet in length, weighing about 500 pounds. They can grow to be about 20 feet long, though. And I do know there is at least a couple of them down there that are a little bit over 700 pounds. Now, when it is real hot, you will see them hanging out with their mouth open. That's because, unlike you and I, they can't sweat. So they do open their mouth. It does help them regulate their temperature. It keeps them a little bit cooler. You will notice a lot of the animals here in Africa have some sort of natural cooling capabilities, as it does get pretty hot out there. But we are going to start making our way towards the savannah. That does happen to be one of the largest parts on the reserve. It's also home to some of the more famous animals like lions, elephants, and giraffe. So hopefully we'll see some of those out there. In the meantime, that tree on the right side of the truck that kind of looks like it was planted upside down, that is a baobab tree, also known as the tree of life or the upside down tree, and they will remain leafless or dormant up to 9 months out of the year, and that's to help conserve any kind of water or energy the tree itself does have, as it is usually fairly dry out here on the savannah.
Oh no.
And I do see at least a giraffe up ahead, so we'll see if we can head up that way. I think I see some zebras as well. Now, unlike the animals in the forest, the animals out here on the savannah do rely on speed and agility to protect themselves. Now, even giraffes can run at about 30 miles per hour. It is a really funny run if you've ever seen it. You kind of see the head move way before you see any other part of the body move. It's a very long, lanky, kind of awkward run.
We're going to get closer to it as we go around, in case you want to wait for it to show. Oh, there's more coming up ahead. Straight ahead of us.
We're going to get a lot closer to them, so we'll see what else we can find on our way out there. Actually, coming up here on the left, if you look underneath the den, I'm going to go past this boulder, kind of laying down in the hay. There are some brown, black, and white colored animals kind of laying down there. Now, those are African painted dogs. Now, I know they look super cute and cuddly, kind of look like your household pets, but they are one of the most successful hunters here in Africa, with a success rate of about only 90% of their chases. And they've been known to chase their prey all the way up to the point of exhaustion. So they're very, very good hunters, usually hunting in packs of about 5 to 15. All right, so there's a lot hanging out here, so bear with me for a moment. Left side, the small kind of, or not small, the brown and white colored animals with the long skinny horns, those are sable antelope. The animals with the really large thick horns are Ankole cattle. These zebras are Hartman's Mountain zebras. Now we can tell that these zebras are Hartman's Mountain zebras. If you look underneath their neck, you'll see a little flap of skin. That's called a dewlap. It does help them regulate their temperature. They're also the only zebra species that has it, so it does help us identify them. Now, a group of zebras is called a dazzle. No. And if you've ever wondered if a zebra was black with white stripes or white with black stripes, just look at their nose. If they have a black nose, they're black with white stripes, and if they have a white nose, they are white with black stripes. Now, looking at those giraffes, it looks like they are a Maasai giraffe. If you look at their coat pattern, they do kind of have that jagged, puzzle-like coat pattern. Now, the reticulated giraffes have a much smoother, almost net-like pattern to them. And they can stand anywhere between 16 and 20 feet tall. That does make them the tallest animal in the world. Now, even their young can come in at about 6 feet tall when they're born. So they're already fairly big when they're babies. Now, just like your fingerprint is unique to you, the coat pattern of the giraffe is unique to them, and it does help them tell each other apart when they're in groups. And a group of giraffes is called a tower. It's a pretty fitting name for something so tall. They do also only sleep for about 30 minutes a day. Oh. The rest of the time is pretty much spent eating. Sounds like a pretty good ratio to me.
Sounds like me.
Although, I think I might need a little more than 30 minutes of sleep. Not so sure I could run off of that. Of course, it seemed like everything wanted to hang out in that first part of the savannah, so we'll see if we can head up this way.
It's alright, we need to recover.
Alright, so we are going to be coming up on some small kind of tan and white colored animals. They're up ahead of us here on the left. They're going to be on the right side of the truck once I make this turn, though. They almost look like little s'mores. These are springbok. Now, springbok are actually one of my favorite animals out here on the reserve. They are the definition of tiny but mighty, only coming in at about 3 feet tall. But they are one of the top 10 fastest land animals, reaching speeds of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. Can also jump 6 feet in the air when they're standing still, all the way up to about 13 feet when they're running forward. So they're small, but they're super, super strong. They do this really cute thing called pronking. If you have YouTube, I highly recommend looking it up. Basically, when they run, they jump straight up and down, kind of arching their back. They do it when they're excited. They do also do it to make themselves look bigger to any kind of predators that might be in the area. And when they do it, they actually give off kind of a cotton candy smell. So they're one of the better smelling animals out here on the reserve. Personally, never been close enough to smell it. Maybe one day. Now we are coming up on some knockdown trees, so be on the lookout for elephants. Elephants are known as nature's bulldozers, so chances are if there's some knockdown stuff, that's usually a pretty good sign there's been some elephant activity throughout the area. Haha, there's a couple of them on the right. Now these are African elephants. We can tell not only because we're in Africa, but if you look at the ear shape of the elephant, it almost kind of looks like the continent of Africa. Makes it super easy to identify them. There's sometimes a herd of them that likes to hang out a little bit farther up as well, so we'll see if we can head out that way, maybe find some more. Now, thanks to our team's conservation efforts, they have actually found that elephants are afraid of bees. So because of that, farmers have been putting up beehive fences around their crops. It's a much safer alternative for the elephants. It keeps them farther away from the crops, but it also keeps our locals and our farmers happy. I always thought it was so funny, though, that such a large animal was afraid of such a tiny little insect. And it's the noise that the bees make. So elephants have extremely sensitive ears, and that buzzing noise bothers their ears more than anything.
I'd hate to see them with a mosquito.
Now, as male elephants grow older and more mature, they do get kicked out of the herd by the female elephants, and they either live in solitary or smaller groups of male-only elephants called bachelor herds. They do get a little bit too rough with the young ones, and the females are not a huge fan of that. And the females are the boss when it comes to the herd. They are led by one female matriarch who will pretty much make all of the decisions for that herd.
Let's see.
I am seeing some tusk marks in the red clay on both sides of the truck here, so hopefully that's a good sign the herd has moved through here fairly recently. Now, just like you and I might take a multivitamin every day, the elephants do eat that red clay. It gives them a little more nutrients they may not always get from their daily diet. Now, female elephants do have one of the longest gestation periods, coming in at about 22 months. So I'm not really sure I blame the females for kicking the males out after a while. Honestly, I might do the same thing if I had to go through that. Those poor mothers. They do have really sensitive skin, so sometimes when it's sunny, you have to look a little bit harder for them. But because of that, they will actually throw dirt and mud up on their back. Now that does act as a natural sunscreen for them. And you will also see them flapping those really big ears that they have, as those ears are home to a bunch of blood vessels on the inside. So just doing that does activate those blood vessels and can even cool their body temperatures down about 15 degrees.
Such a big animal would be something they're hiding.
Alright, now while we are on the lookout for the herd, it looks like we are coming up on a flamboyance of greater flamingos. Now they do start off as a gray color. As they get older, they get their vibrant pink color from their diet, which does consist mostly of beta-carotene. Now, once we get around, if you kind of look closely at like the back of the head and neck of a few of them, some of them do still have some of that gray coloring, so those ones are still fairly young. Now, it can take up to 2 years for them to get that full pink color. Now, they're one of the lightest colors of flamingo species, as well as one of the largest. You might have seen their cousins, the lesser flamingos, out of Discovery Island when you were coming in today. They're quite a bit brighter in color than these ones. They're also a little bit smaller. Now, if you didn't see them and you are a fan of flamingos, they like to hang out at the very front of the tree of life, kind of down to the left-hand side. If you also look closely at the shape of the island, it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite Disney characters. Guess we'll never know. And I did see the head of an ostrich walking up ahead here. Yeah, coming up here on the left, as I make this turn, kind of walking on the other side of that tall grass there. There's also some white rhinos off in the distance there. We're going to get closer to them here. Now, ostriches are one of the largest species of birds. They are flightless birds, though. Now, they will use those wings to help them turn because they can run speeds of about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So they are fairly quick. See if you can head up a little bit closer to them, as well as the white rhinos. So we're also coming up on big cat territory, so start being on the lookout for those.
Yeah. This one runs away from us really fast. I actually think those white rhinos might have went in the road. They were kind of walking towards the road. Well, maybe not. Now, once we do get up towards them, now white rhinos don't actually get their name from their skin color. They get it from the Afrikaans word "wit," which does mean wide. Now, if you do look at their mouth, you'll notice they have a really wide, kind of rectangular mouth. They're also one of the larger species of rhinos, coming in at about 5,000 pounds. So they're about 2,000 pounds bigger than black rhinos. Now, one of my favorite things about them, even though they are 5,000 pounds, when they run, they can actually get all four of their little legs off the ground. There's a baby one running around here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these three are actually all fairly young ones. Now, the two really small ones are Logan and Milo. One was born back in September, and the other one was born in November. So they're still super small. And then the little bit bigger one here, that is the absolute love of my life, Ranger. Now, Ranger is about a year and a half. He's already hit like the 2,000 pound mark as well. So we're a very big baby. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. A group of rhinos is called a crash. And I'd like to think that's because they are almost blind. They can only see about 10 feet in front of them, and what they can see is kind of just shadows. We love having the three babies. They're so cute. Especially because their older brother Ranger starts to play with them now too. So it's so adorable. Now, we are coming around the Kopi Rocks. A lot of different animals do like to hang out here. Now, the larger, more predatory animals usually like to hang out at the top of the rocks. It gives them a really good lookout point. Now, the smaller animals actually like that little bontebok that's kind of hiding on the right side, right behind that grass. They tend to hang down towards the bottom. That way it gives them a little bit of protection. We might see the bontebok again. I know he's kind of hiding right behind that grass there. But bonteboks are related to wildebeest. Within 5 minutes of birth, they can stand, and within about 10 to 15 minutes, they can also walk and run. Okay, so there is a female lion laying right by that tall grass there. You gotta see her head is popped away from us there. Now, lions will sleep or rest about 16 to 20 hours a day. So during the day, that's pretty much what you're gonna see them doing, not a whole lot more. Now, they do tend to be more nocturnal and will do most of their hunting at night. And it is the females that will go out and do the hunting while the males stay back and protect the pride. Now, during the day, their eyesight is pretty much identical to ours. At night, it does get about 6 times better, though, so they have super good eyesight at night. There are a couple warthogs over on the left as well.
What?
Now, warthogs are one of the largest land-growing animals. They like to back up into their burrows, keeps their tusks out. That way, if anything tries to sneak up on them, they can try to deter that animal. They've also been known to recycle other animals' burrows, so they might find what an animal has abandoned and call it their home. Now, there's that bontebok laying down there again, too. But these eggs here, these are ostrich eggs. Now, individually, each one of those eggs can weigh about 3 pounds, and they are so strong that just about any one of us could stand on them and absolutely nothing would happen. They do also tend to lay all of their eggs in one big pile, and the matriarchs of the group will watch over them.
look like we are coming up on the Warden's Coast, just up ahead here. So that does mean our safari is coming close to an end. But the Warden has adopted these Nigerian dwarf goats that hang out here. Now they do help our Warden keep the grass looking nice and the weeds down low. And in return, they produce a milk that the villagers here find very sweet and high in value. If you look, there's a couple that are a little bit bigger. Those are full-grown adults. There's also a couple a little bit smaller ones kind of scattered around. Those ones are fairly young. Just a few months old. Now, these guys are one of the many examples of how humans and animals can live in harmony together. It just takes a little bit of effort from us. Some small things that we can do at home but make a huge difference for these animals. Planting some native trees or plants in your yard, maybe building a few bird houses here or there, or even some bat boxes. A lot of these animals are losing their habitats due to mining for metallic ore, otherwise known as coltan, and that's found in many of your small electronics. So things like cell phones, laptops, tablets, anything like that. So next time that brand new shiny iPhone comes out and you guys decide to go out and purchase it, just make sure you recycle the old one. Super cool conservation fact about those white rhinos that we saw. Over in Uganda, white rhinos were extinct in the wild, so that means there were no more remaining. Obviously, that's not the cool part. The cool part is, thanks to our breeding program here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, they were actually able to send 2 white rhinos over there, and they did start repopulating. So that's super exciting, especially since we had a part in that. And we always want to see those numbers going up out there in the wild. Now, if you guys did enjoy seeing the animals here on the safari, there's still plenty more for you to see today. Here in Africa, you can hop on over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, where you'll see naked mole rats, meerkats, gorillas. They have an underwater hippo viewing pool, where you can usually get a little bit closer view of some hippos and kind of see how they move under the water. Also over in Asia, right behind Kali River Rapids, you're going to find the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Now, out there they have Komodo dragons, bats, and a whole bunch of different exotic bird species. But here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. We feel that's far too sad and far too final. Instead, we leave you with Kwaherini, which does mean to go well. So Kwaherini, friends, go well, go wild, go make a difference out there. And enjoy the rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Once again, my name was Rachel. Thanks for hanging out with me. My friends on the right, watch those hands, arms, feet, legs. Those doors are sliding open. And watch your step down. There is a little bit of a step there. Kwaherini, everyone. If I did have any wilderness explorers on board, you guys were on board the Simba flight.
You still recording?
Sorry. It's breakfast time. They're gonna do some porridge, eating, sleeping. And as the morning gets later, a lot of sleep.
Seems like a typical Wednesday. Little footprints. Oh. Do you see? Oh. Ready? Yep. Are you recording? Yeah. All right.
Huh?
Ooh.
Okay, where are we going next?
Oh, field note clipboard. Neat.
Get out. Look at the big a yellow one.
Very cool. coming through?
Yes. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
So World War I, they were one of the soldiers, and they couldn't really use metal because metal was being used in the guns and everything. The wood was being used in the structures and the storage.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute.
Have you heard of the top one? TAGUA. So
Of course you want to park in the spot right next to its butt. That's its butt.
Oh.
Butt and tail.
And
If you
then
move
they
over to
carved
this
them
one, you
up
can see more of the actual hippo.
and they made over 616 million buttons out of the top of it.
She said 8 minutes.
I'm surprised the hippo does not become an opportunistic omnivore. You just go like hump a bunch of fish.
Like it's breathing.
Apparently they eat herbs.